guys, here coming out today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Hopefully it finds you all doing well out there today. We're going to talk about revivers, specifically the top 20 revivers inside all of Raid Shadow Legends, starting from 20, going all the way to numero uno, the creme de la creme, the tippity top of the proverbial mountain here inside the game. So there's a lot of champions to cover here. Let's just go ahead and get into it. I will tell you guys that especially inside the top 10, there is quite a few newcomers from the time that we did a list like this last year. So much so that I think the last time that we did this, we had to do, or we did a top 10, it has to be a top 20 because really, pretty much all the champions on this list, they're pretty good. Now, in terms of how I'm grading them out, it's really difficult because sometimes the revive isn't the strongest part of their kits. Sometimes they're doing some other incredible stuff. And other times they have a great revive, but the rest of their kits are just kind of like meh. So how I'm kind of judging these champions is it's an overall grading, but with an emphasis on how strong their revive is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When in doubt between a lot of these champions, I'm kind of erring on, okay, how good is their actual revive skill versus the rest of their kit? Anyway, guys, let's start with number 20 on the list. And this is a sad one to start out the video, guys, because it's actually a champion that I think could be so much better. I think one of the best candidates for a Void Legendary buff out there. They did Angar, they did Fortis. I think that Blind Seer really needs a buff.
Who the hell is this guy?
She's got a lot going for her. She's got a great A1 with a decreased turn meter on each hit. She's got a great A2 with a block debuffs and a shield on a 3-turn cooldown. And she has an amazing aura, defense in all battles by 34%. And she's one of the fastest revivers on our list at 115 speed. So she's got a lot of great stuff. Unfortunately, only one bad thing, and that is her revive. It's a really crappy AoE revive, considering she's a Void Legendary. Revives all dead allies with 35% HP, no turn meter, and a block damage. That's all they got. That can be removed, they can be dead. Or they can just simply take a turn, then they can be dead because they have no turn meter, and it's not a good ability, right? It's a really good kit with an exceptionally poor, it feels like an epic, a Gorgorab type revival, right? So I'd love to see a buff to this revival ability. I don't think it would kill her or make her too strong, so to speak, if we bump that up to 50% HP and maybe 50% turn meter, something like that. It doesn't have to be a crazy buff, but I do think they should give a buff to the self-sacrifice ability. She has a lot of potential, and overall, she's still a pretty good champion. Coming in at number 19 on the list is an epic champion, and she's an oldie but still a goodie, and I just couldn't take her off this list. It's Cardinal. Cardinal has that redemption, right? The redemption is an AoE revive, heals them by 25% of their max HP, so basically revives them with 25% HP. It's weird how they call it a heal. Sometimes you look at these old champions, you're reminded the verbiage has changed along with the introduction of, hundreds of other champions throughout the years. Boost their turn meter to max. You guys already know this, what that means by now. It's a unique revival. Nobody else in the game has it. It guarantees that they're going to be the next to go. It's different than reviving with 100% turn meter, because if somebody was already waiting in line, they're still going to go first. You see that all the time on like a Cify, for example. But with Cardinal, that's not the case. They're going to go next no matter what. So there's a lot of teams revolving around Cardinal, obviously in Stone Skin, reviving the entire team, and then they just kill everybody, right? So Cardinal, because of that uniqueness in her kit with that revival, comes in at number 19. At number 18 on the list, it's Rectordrath. I have a soft spot for Rectordrath. I just really love this champion. Everything from the aesthetics on her. Look at her. She's so beautiful. She's just floating. She's like the evil witch of the Knights Revenant cult. I don't know, man. She should be like the queen of the Knights Revenant cult. She is badass, dude.
You and I have unfinished business.
Baby, you ain't kidding.
Force Affinity, she's super fast, especially for an epic at 109 speed. She's got resist in Doom Tower battles, whatever. She's got a decreased attack on the A1. She has a heal based on her max HP and a perfect veil with allies with full HP, continuous heal if they don't. A very good ability in Necro Mutation. Then she has the Revival, revives a single ally, 60% HP, 60% turn meter fill, and a perfect veil for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. That's more damage mitigation from AoE attacks. Furthermore, they can't be targeted. Now, a veil or perfect veil, that's like the perfect thing thing to put on a newly or recently revived champion. So it's a really, really strong, again, 4-turn cooldown, a very strong single target revival in a very strong kit. And I haven't even mentioned Master of Ghosts. Whenever an ally under a veil or prevail, which she brings to the table, gets a turn, it heals them by 10% of their max HP. So she has that kind of Elva, Cify, Sil, healing passive kind of sort of built in with that Veil and Perfect Veil synergy. She is really a great epic support champion, and I have a free download code for Rectordrath in the top line of the comments if you want to start a new account, or excuse me, the top line of the description of this video. If you want to start a new account and start off with a Rectordrath, you get her at level 12, you get a Tyrell at level 1, or immediately I should say. Anyway, I digress. Let's go in at number 17. Number 17, talk about an old school champion, and man, when I was starting this game, guys, oh, by the way, just a quick little a note that I should have mentioned at the top. Champions that have revivals off of like passives, not an active skill, I am leaving off this list. So Marichka, we love you. You would be ranked incredibly high, but I tried to keep it to just active revivers, okay? Raglin, though, comes in at number 17 on the list. Raglin, man, she also, I think, needs a buff. I think she's very good. She's very good. Obviously, she made the list, right? I think that Mercy's a great ability. It's a great heal if you scale her attack high enough, which isn't that hard to do. It's a cleanse too. I love to see this on a 3-turn cooldown. I think that's a great buff for her. Miracle is still just the class act of single target revives in the game. It's a 2-turn cooldown with a full turn meter and 75% HP. Raglin is still a very, very exceptionally good single target reviver and support champion. However, there's no doubt about it, she's also been power crept throughout the years quite a bit by some of the other newer additions on this list. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me on Raglin. Very good, just not as used nearly as much as she was like back in the day, right? She also has a turn meter fill in the A1, which is really underrated as well. All right, let's go on to number 16 on the list. A champion with her revive is nowhere near as good as Raglin's, but the rest of her kit I think is quite a bit better, and that is Sila of the Drakes, my girl. I love you, Sil. I love you, Sil.
Can you not pretend?
She's so awesome, man. And man, I don't know what it is. I think some of you guys are just doing it to troll me, talking some smack about Sila of the Drakes in the comments. I made a whole video defending her earlier this month.
What the hell
She's really good. I don't care what you guys say. She's got a decreased speed on the A1. She got decreased turn meter, big version decreased speed. She's got an AoE stun on the A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. And then she has the heals, the great heals. I mean, I don't know why, but I feel like some people underrate these passives. Again, I mentioned Cify and Elva and Rector, still the Drakes as well, right? Having to heal all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. You throw her in a Relentless, you get the double turn, you get the double heal, you get increased speeds going out on random allies off the passive, and then she has the revival 50% HP in the ally protection on the 4-turn cooldown. An all-around great control in support champion and healer for every team that gets her as a daily login champion. Coming in at number 15 on the list is one of my favorites, and again, this is a champion that's actually a little bit lower, only because we're heavily weighing the revive, as I mentioned, right? And it's Molly Tankard. I love Molly, and people almost forget sometimes that she's a reviver because she's so unique in other ways as well. But she's the main reviver for my Hydra, my top Hydra clan boss team, because she's so nasty in Hydra. She got the double turn provoke potential. A little bit outclassed now by Archer Queen, but you need 3 Hydra teams anyway, right? But this rowdy crowd is so strong. I've talked about it a billion times here on the channel. It is, well, it's either underrated or properly rated. Either you've seen the light of how nasty and powerful Rowdy Crowd is, one of the most powerful passives in the game. I truly believe that. Fills a turn meter of all allies by 15% every time she's hit. Fills a turn meter of all allies by 25% when she's hit by a boss. It's insane what that can do, especially in Hydra. She smacks with her A1 and places a burn too. It's just something that's weird about her. Like, it doesn't feel like she should have this massively hard-hitting A1, but I'm talking on my team, the way I have her built, she's hitting for like, I don't know, 300,000 damage per A1 against decapitated Hydra heads, which is really cool. Anyway, she has a revive too. 50% HP, 50% turn meter, block damage for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown. What more do you want? She's fast, great base stats, easy to keep alive. Love Molly Tankard. Number 14 on the list list is going to be not the last epic on our list, but what, the 4th or so epic on the list? And that is going to be arguably one of the best revives in the game in terms of survivability, in terms of like setting up those champions to stay alive, right? And it's Ursula the Mourner coming in again. You may say she's actually underrated on this list at number 14, but spoiler, there's a lot of freaking good champions to come, guys. So Ursula has a decreased target's turn meter on the A1. She's an increased attack and decreased attack on the A2, which is great ability. 1,000,000 books required, but you know, that's the only downside of this champion. You know, again, base stats aren't great. Her defense is very low. Her HP is fairly low. Her speed is average to low. She does bring Doom Tower speed, which is nice on the aura, but her revival, man, is really freaking good. I mean, again, you can compare this Requiem to almost every legendary that we mentioned from here, any champion that we mentioned from here on out, and you can make the case it's better than those revivals, which is really cool. So we're talking sheer AoE revivals. I think she's probably top 3 in the game. Like, it's just the rest of her kit and her base stats and all the rest that kind of bring her a little bit down, but that's not a knock on her. The fact that she's 14 out of all the revivers, there's hundreds of her, maybe not hundreds, but maybe going a little bit too far, but there's, you know, 50 plus revivers in the game easily. Anyway, Requiem is a 75% HP, 50% turn meter, increased defense and strengthen for 3 turns, both the big version, and you can use this as an increased defense strengthen on a 5-turn cooldown without even having to revive. It's a nasty support revival ability there. And Ursula the Mourner coming in at number 13 on the list is, oh, a champion that's pretty polarizing, I feel like, for a Void Legendary. Rocka Viletide, some people love her, some people hate her. I'm somewhere in the middle, right? I have her ranked as number 13 on the list, and I think she's really solid. She's fast. Base stats are pretty good. She has a little heal on the A1. On the A2, she has increased attack and a shield and a cleanse. It's a really strong move. Now, this was power crept a little tiny bit by, you know, champions like Pythion, who are more accessible, not being a Void and being a fusion, than a Rocka Viletide. But either way, very good ability. It's nice to have a reviver with a cleanse. It's kind of a weird ability because it's bringing a cleanse with an increased attack and a shield. It's kind of an interesting combo. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just unique in that regard. She's got a revive 50% HP, 50% turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown, a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, and it will use that block debuffs even if there's nobody revived, which is kind of interesting. It gives her the block debuffs and the cleanse in her kit as well. A little bit unorthodox way to deliver it though. Her creep is very good on the passive, right? It's at the start of each turn, fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%, and at the start of each turn, places a continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Will not place continuous heal buff on this champion. That has no cooldown. Obviously, the active effect of creep does. Whew, speed in all battles by 19%. Nice speed aura, same as Duchess, right? A lot of people compare her a bit to Duchess, negatively, you know, but I don't think that's really super fair. They're quite different champions, even though they do have some similarities as well, right? So Rocka Viletide comes in at number 13. Number 12 on the list is a champion that actually grown on me quite a bit, and it's Kaja the Rye. I love the aesthetics. I love the look of Kaja the Rye. She's freaking awesome, man. She's like, design-wise, they kill it, man. Plarium kills it with their champion designs. And this is why. I mean, like, such a cool, no detail, really. Like, look at the, I mean, I'm sorry to like absolutely navel gaze here, but like, look at the intricacies of everything. Everything she's got going on is like, I don't know. I love it. I love the tights, the leggings, excuse me.
Yo, Buckwheat.
She's super fast. She's tanky. We love it. 112 base speed. She heals herself on the A1. On the A2, the A2 is a revival, which always throws me off when they have a revive on the A2. It's supposed to be the last ability, man. It's a revive all dead allies with 50% HP, 50% turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown. Not the strongest, not the weakest, but what's unique about her is she brings an increased crit rate and increased crit damage. So she's really setting up damage dealers with her revive, which is not the norm inside the game. You add that to her A3 with a turn meter fill, removing 2 debuffs from each ally as well, so a mini cleanse there, and the block debuffs on the same ability on a 3-turn cooldown. So a very strong A3 as well. Obviously, her kit gets a lot stronger, exponentially stronger, if Timid the Fool is on the same team. All turn meter reduction effects are decreased by 50% when used against this champion. That's a really nice passive too. So there you go. Kaja the Rye coming in at number 12. Coming in at number 11 on the list is none other than the big fella. It's Mighty Uko. So Mighty Uko is is another unique reviver. Fast, decent base stats, decent attack too. One of those revivers you can get some nice damage out of, nice control out of, and a revival out of. Now the revive is definitely not the highlight of Mighty Uko's kit. You can put Mighty Uko in a stun set, AoE on the A1 with decreased attack. This is 75% decreased attack, 80% with sniper. So you're looking at a lot of damage mitigation off the bat with the AoE on the A1. Again, perfect for a stun set. He can no longer, they went in and fixed the double shot at a stun on the A2, so he can't pull that off anymore. Maybe he's dropped a few spots, I would say, after that little tiny rework, soft nerf, whatever, bug fix. Either way, still an amazing ability, a ×2 hitter. Each hit is removing 2 buffs from the target. Really strong, obviously. Plays a block buffs and a decreased accuracy for 2 turns if the target has no buffs after the attack. On a 4-turn cooldown, super strong in the arena, super strong in Hydra, anywhere, you know, anywhere you're running into any targets with buffs. Because not only are you removing them, but we're also 4 of them at that. There's not that many situations that there's more than 4 to remove outside the arena. But then the block buffs afterwards and the decreased accuracy, just to add insult to injury, is really, really nice. Totem Warden is super strong. You're stealing a buff and protecting it at the start of each turn. It's a low-key, just busted part of this champion's kit that I absolutely love. Again, any stolen buffs become protected. That is wild. Uko's Mercy. As I said, the revive is definitely not the highlight of this kit. It's a 4-turn cooldown with 40% HP, no turn meter, and a block damage for 1 turn. That's pretty dang weak, and that's what really holds Mighty Uko to number 11. Otherwise, if that revive was a bit stronger, he'd be higher on the list. He does have an increased speed that he uses, even if there's no dead allies, which can actually put the ability on cooldown when you really need it, so it's kind of frustrating to use on auto as well. Either way, still a great champion, speeding all battles by 20% on that great aura as well. Coming in at number 10 on the list, another epic champion at number 10. And some might say, as Oasis said, that Godseeker Aniri is maybe too low on the list, right?
You like playing with fire.
Godseeker Aniri is my favorite epic reviver inside the game. She has a heal on the A1. She has an emergency revive, a break in case of emergency, fail-safe revive here, the instant revive on death if somebody's about to go down, increase the amount of all healing allies receive as a passive effect all the time when she's on the battlefield, which is really nice and underrated. And then she has a great A2 in Quest for Meaning. It's a heal, 15% of their max HP, not the best heal, but not the worst. It is a 3-turn cooldown, but more importantly, the increased duration of buffs and the decreased duration of buffs on enemies. A very, very powerful ability. You do need accuracy, obviously, to decrease the duration of buffs on the enemies, which is a little weird because nothing else in her kit needs accuracy at all, but either way, it's still a great ability. Then she has the super unique revival, 50% HP, 50% turn meter, but reset the cooldown of all their skills, allows Godseeker Aniri to do some just nasty and very unique things, specifically and notably in Sand Devil, right? He wipes everybody out, she revives herself with the passive, and then she revives the ally, like the ninja, the walking tomb drain, the chronum, whoever you're using, right? And resets the cooldown so they can just go into their best ability while the Sand Devil is asleep and susceptible to debuffs and damage, right? So Godseeker Aniri is incredible, but she's not as unique as she was, I don't know, a month ago from the time of this recording, right? Because we look at number 9 on the list. This is I don't want to say polarizing champion, but frankly, I went for White Queen and Kora, and I think she's, I don't know, I think she's a little bit underrated by the community. I see a lot of shade being thrown at her. I think that sometimes it does take a while for some fusions and fragment summons to really find their niche in the game, and people are too quick to judge these proverbial books by their covers.
Why do you care?
I'm not saying she's an S-tier champion, but obviously she's 9 on my list, and I'm a big fan of her. I love the aesthetics of White Queen and Kora. She's support, she's very fast, she's very tanky. She has a pretty cool A1 on the A2. Well, let me just 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally skills by 2 turns on the A1. That's a pretty cool ability. If the cooldown of the skill is fully reset, also heals that ally by 10% of this champion's max HP. Necro Bolt is a nice A1 ability, very unique and very powerful as well, especially in the duration of longer battles. Shield of Imaria is a 3-turn cooldown. It's a cleanse on all allies. It's a shield on all allies, and then fills a turn meter of all allies. Cleanse, shield, turn meter. Sign me up. Awesome. 3-turn cooldown. And look at the books. Not bad at all here. What if the A1's still 3. I mean, the books are very reasonable on this legendary, right? And then Rise, my love, a 3-turn cooldown, revives a dead ally 50% HP, 75% turn meter, and resets the revived ally skills, a la Godseeker Aniri, right? Even better, arguably, kit. Anyway, they're number 9 and 10, so you guys can argue. The fact that I'm comparing her to an epic might say something about this champion. However, on the other hand, I still think she's amazing because it's one of the best epics in the entire game that we're comparing her to. After the revival, decrease the turn meter for all enemies by 10%. Why not? Add it! Whenever an enemy tries to CC debuff on an ally with the highest crit damage, transfers those debuffs to this champion instead, fills this champion's turn meter by 50% if the champion misses their turn due to one of these debuffs. At the start of this champion's turn, removes those debuffs from the team if the king is on the same team. Pretty interesting queen consort passive as well. You wrap it all up with speed in all battles by 19%. Yeah, I'm really high on White Queen and Kora. Coming in at number 8 on the list. This is one that I have a lot of firsthand experience with. I run this dude as kind of my backup reviver if somebody in live arena, if somebody's drafting my my Duchess or my Cify, like my go-tos, Bellatar Mage Slayer comes in on the squad, right? You can build him with super high HP, put him in a bolster set if you want to. You can just put him in Stone Skin. There's a few different ways to build this champion. He's an HP-based, kind of recent addition to the game in the last 6 months or so. He's a Void Affinity Organ Tribe champion, and he's a very unique reviver. The reason I like him so much is, well, 2 reasons. Number 1 is, he has a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill on the ally with the highest turn meter except this champion by 1 turn on his Fume Axe on his A1. It's not a game-changing ability, but it's very nice to have, and it procs pretty often at 50%. Also, 70% chance of decreasing all of an ally skill cooldowns by 1 turn whenever they're revived. Very, very cool passive. Critical Juncture and the A1 Fume Axe is what makes this champion truly unique and worthy of the Void Legendary status, in my opinion. On the A2, though, we're not done yet. Slayer's Roar. It's an AoE attack, heal all allies by 20% of his max HP, easy to scale up, but most importantly, he's also bringing both increased defense and increased attack, both big versions on a 3-turn cooldown, a la like a Mithrala, you know? So he's doing a lot here on Slayer's Roar that really brings this entire kit together. Now his revival is 50% HP, 50% turn meter, and his shield equals 20% of his max HP, which again, scales pretty well at 22k base. 4-turn cooldown, yeah, I'm a big fan of this dude. HP in all battles on the aura by 33% as well. He's not the best reviver in the game. I have him at number 8, but I think he brings a lot to the table, and he kind of fits in a lot of different teams, right? Anybody can benefit from reduction of cooldowns on the A1 and the passive. Anybody can benefit from either increased attack or increased defense, and of course the heal, right? So he's a nice fit, a nice blend for any type of team that you might be running. Coming in at number 7 on the list, guys, is going to be none other than the queen of Raid Shadow Legends. It is, or the queen of Teleria, I would say, I think according to lore. It's Arbiter. Arbiter's an old school, but she's so good, especially in Hydra Clan Boss. You know, I actually found myself using Arbiter quite a bit less, especially with a Shuzen the Valorous and other options as speed boosters inside the arena. So I use her a little bit less in the arena, even though she's still, you know, A+ tier, S tier in the arena, held back a little bit by, you know, the somewhat, I don't want to say death of speed teams, because speed teams are still probably the most popular team in aggregate when we talk about the entire player base, not at the top end. But even at the top end, a lot of people use Arbiter still and speed teams outside, like, you know, Plat, you know? Either way, I digress. She's got a great kit. AoE decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. This can mitigate polymorph, which is fantastic. It's also great for Hydra Clan Boss. She has an increased attack on all allies. She has a turn meter fill of 30%. She's got a great heal as well if they're less than 50% HP, all on a 3-turn cooldown. And then she's super unique to be a champion that has 2 turn meter boosting abilities, which makes her so good for Hydra. If you don't have to revive anybody, just keep boosting turn meter, right? She's got a turn meter fill of 20%, a turn meter of 30%. She's just kind of a motor that helps your team continue to go. And of course, her speed aura is at 30%. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Arbiter still. Coming in at number 6. Well, this dude is a new addition to the list. I don't have him, but boy, do I want him. This is one of those dudes who doesn't have the strongest revive, but the rest of his kit is so freaking good that it just skyrockets him. It catapults him closer to the top of this list. Coming in at number 6 is Suiran, a Lizardman Void Affinity. He looks cool. I mean, the poor fella, he's someone get a fire extinguisher because my man is not looking so healthy here. Either way, he's fast, decent base stats, pretty tanky. He's a support. He's got turn meter fill of all allies if the target's under an HP burn on the A1. The Blazing Barrier places a burn for 3 turns, instantly activates that burn on the same ability, and then a shield on all allies equal to the damage inflicted by the burn, all on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. And then my man revives with an extra turn. So he's placing burns, he's instantly activating burns, he's reviving everybody, 50% HP, 40% turn meter, with an extra turn mechanic built into the revive. Maybe I'm biased, something about the name of this ability, I just kind of like it. It resonates with me. On the passive, fills a turn meter of all allies by 5% for each HP burn placed. Whenever a burn is activated, heals all allies by 5% of their max HP. Whenever a burn is activated on tainted scavenge, spiderlings or other spiderlings, heals all allies by 1% of their HP. Whenever a burn debuffs is removed from an enemy, place a decreased resistance on that enemy for 1 turn. Whenever an ally is killed by an enemy under a burn, fills his champion's turn meter by 20%. Ergo, kind of like a getting right back to the revive, and then increases champions speed by 7 for each active HP burn debuff. Woo! That is a mouthful, and there's no like cooldown. This is just all, no, I don't want.
Would you like to hear about the benefits package?
You're ruining my video, Apple software update. Come on, get out of here. He has HP in all battles by 33% as well. Boy, I think he's probably, outside of like a dupe Newt, a dupe Acresia, or a dupe Taurus, he's probably my most wanted Void legendary to begin with inside the game. So good. Coming in at number 5 on the list is going to be, why am I going here? It's right over here. I didn't have to move too far. It's Pythion. Pythion, man, he's a game changer. He was one of the best fragment summons in my opinion, or fusions in my opinion, that we've had over the last couple years. He's up there. Very, very good champion. He's Force Affinity. He's tough to kill. He's tanky as all hell. He's pretty fast, 105 base speed. He's got a little heal on the A1. He's got a bigger heal on the A2. 10% of max HP, but extra heals for every debuff removed. So it's a cleanse, it's a heal, and it's block debuffs for 2 turns, all on a 3-turn cooldown. It's an excellent, excellent ability. And then revives all dead allies, 50% HP, 50% turn meter, and the big version of strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, super good revive. Really, really strong kit. I have him at number 5. You can make a case. Maybe he even belongs at number 4 or 3. You guys let me know. He also has the damage mitigation on overlay, which really puts him over the top as such a competent support champion inside the game. Receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff on them, stacking up to 25%. It's really incredible. It's comparable to Duchess's passive, in some situations better, because Duchess only applies to AoE hits, whereas he, as long as you have enough buffs on the team, you can have a built-in big version of strengthen basically all the time, thanks to that overlay. So very, very, very exceptionally good reviver and support and cleanser and the whole 9. Coming in at number 4 is probably, who's my new, okay. But this is not the guy, but he's a new, anything, oh wait. AoE, decrease speed, increase accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, then teams up with a random ally. Okay.
What the hell was that?
Interesting. He doesn't seem that bad for a rare. Anyway, I digress. Coming in number 4 on the list is Elva Autumnborn. Probably one of the most, what am I going to say, like the highest risers on the list from the last time that we did this list is probably Elva Autumnborn. She is incredibly good in so many different areas of the game. Her versatility is really up there. She might be the most, or up there, top 3 most versatile reviver supports inside the entire game. She's used really everywhere, and most recently too, over the last, I don't know, 3-4 months or so, her popularity has really been skyrocketing in the top of Plat, the top of Live Arena as well. She's just so good. She's super fast. She's pretty tanky on the A1. She's got a continuous heal for 2 turns, and the ally with lowest HP. She has has the cleanse, the block debuffs, and the increased speed, all on a 3-turn cooldown. A really, really powerful A2 ability. I mean, what more do you want? The increased speed, block debuffs, 2 of the essential buffs in the game, along with a full cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown. And then the sprouting season's a 3-turn cooldown, 40% HP, 50% turn meter, increased defense big version, and increased attack big version on that ally for 2 turns. Listen, it's only a single target revive. The good news is it's a pretty solid one. It's not the best. It's pretty solid. It sets up Nuker's either defense or attack base or some survivability, and it's a 3-turn cooldown. It's really the rest of her kit that skyrockets her to number 4 on the list. She also has the Leaf Shroud passive. Heals each ally 10% of their max HP at the start of their turn. So a really, really good healer as well. A perfect veil for 1 turn on the ally with the lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn. Cannot overstate how good this is as well. Protecting the ally who basically needs it the most all the time. Again, AoE damage mitigation by 15% on the perfect veil, as well as, you know, not making them targeted. So between that and the sneaky big version of continuous heals for 2 turns every single A1 makes her a great healer in support. Speed in all battles by 19%. She just has it all. She's my 2nd favorite single target reviver in the game, my 4th favorite reviver in the game. She has skyrocketed up the list over the last year or so. All right, coming in at number 3 is going to be Cify, the Lost Bride. We've reached the top 3, ladies and gentlemen. Cify, the Lost Bride. She's got to be, in terms of ban rates and win rates in the arena, she's got to be, the last time I looked, which was probably about a month ago, she's perennially the number 1 champion in the game who's not a skill lockout champion like a Warlord Yumeko Crixia, for example. She's so good, man. She's tanky. She's got all the buffs you need, block debuffs, increased defense, increased speed. She's super fast, easy to make a super fast Cify. You can run her in protection. You can run her in stone skin. Heck, you can run her in bolster. You can run her in a bolster and a stone skin if you want to, right? If you have the accessories. She's got the revive, though. I mean, the heal on the passive, 10% of max HP. She's removing debuffs. She has a chance of removing debuffs. She's got the best control ability in the arena, arguably outside the lockouts in the game. The Curse of Longing with that sleep that's irresistible on the A1. I've said it so many times before, but you cannot be underrated. It cannot be overstated how powerful this ability is, man. It's so annoying to go against. It's so awesome to have in your back pocket, especially during the latter phases of arena battles. You can just, she's so fast, you can usually just lock out the enemy team with the A1, locking out their, you know, their most valuable unit, their reviver or their DPS or whatever. Love Beyond Death. We're here to talk about revivers.
Oh, really?
4-turn cooldown, 50% HP, and a full turn meter. Increased attack, increased crit rate, can set up nukers, can set up her lovely Rhodos as well, her groom. So Cify, yes, makes the list at number 3. Coming in at number 2 on the list is going to be maybe controversial. I'm never one to shy away from a little talking points, a little controversy. Number 2 on the list is going to be Duchess. Duchess, little 2, that's right. We have a new number 1 in the game, guys. But first, Duchess. Duchess is, I mean, I really kind of went back and forth with this. Do I want to put Duchess as number 1? Do I want to put her at number 2? Not that it really matters, but after looking a lot at number 1, I think number 1's a little bit better. It's crazy to say because Duchess has been the queen of revivers since she was added to the game. She is just incredible. She has the ever so valuable, ever so important, the incredibly strong perfect veil on a 4-turn cooldown, block debuffs, and increased attack. She has the damage mitigation from Ethereal Ways, decrease damage mitigate AoE by what? Ash? Decrease damage decrease the damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks by 25%, 15 against bosses. Really, really strong passive for obvious reasons. Between that, you know, 25% AoE damage mitigation, and then the perfect veil with another 15% AoE damage mitigation. I mean, we're rocking 40% AoE damage mitigation just based off of those 2 buffs in her kit alone. She has speed in all battles. She's got great base stats. She's got a lot of HP, and maybe the best revive in the game. it's kind of crazy to say, but she's up in terms of survivability. She's up there with Ursula the Mourner. She's got an AoE revive on a 4-turn cooldown. They were going to nerf it to a 5-turn cooldown. Then the community went in an absolute uproar a couple years back, and they decided not to. They went back on a proposed nerf, which is pretty cool. 70% HP, a veil on all allies for 1 turn, continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. It's just such a great revival. It's such a great kit. She's very strong. She's probably the most used reviver for those who have her. Like, everybody uses her everywhere, right? Duchess. Very, very good. But number 1, a new number 1 in the game. You guys can objectively go over this insane kit with me and see if you agree or disagree. It's Star Sage Galathyr. He's a mythical champion, so he ought to be a good reviver. He's so busted. First of all, he's the fastest reviver, well, tied with Blind Seer as the fastest reviver in the game at 115 base speed. He's got a lot of survivability, 22k, 1350 on the defense. On his A1, on both forms, he has an AoE, okay? So on base form first, an AoE attack, turn meter of all allies by 10%, an extra 5% if they have any active buffs placed on them by this champion, okay? So we're already starting out with a banger in Astral Storm. On the A2, a full cleanse, a heal, 25% of this champion's max HP, which is very easy to scale. Also fills a turn meter while we're at it by 15%. Hey, also, let's place a block debuffs. So we get a cleanse, we get a big heal, we get a turn meter fill, and a block debuffs all on a 3-turn cooldown. What? Yeah, I mean, that's just nasty. Revives all dead allies, 50% turn meter, 50% HP, perfect veil on a 4-turn cooldown. Again, I mean, Duchess is no turn meter with a regular veil, continuous heals, and 70% HP on a 4-turn. This dude has the perfect veil, so more damage mitigation, and a 50% turn meter. I still think that Duchess's revive alone is probably a bit better with the continuous heals in there. You know, you can kind of pick either way depending on what you want. But either way, it's a very, very, very strong revival. Eternal Beyonder, his passive. The passive effect of the passive, this champion receives 5% less damage for every 100 resistance on this champion, stacks up to 25%. Cool. Prevents the champion's death and keeps him alive with 1 HP when they're hit by a fatal hit, then equalizes their HP. The HP level of this champion will be brought up to the average HP of the level of the team. So now you can't kill this dude either. Great. Metamorph, let's go to the second phase, the second form, excuse me. Another AoE, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 10%, decrease the turn meter by an extra 5% if they're under some CC debuffs. An AoE, before attacking, removes all buffs from all enemies. Then, hey, why not? Let's place a block active skills debuff for 2 turns. And this will not trigger counterattacks, because why not add some more crazy stuff to this ability? So block active skills, a lockout ability, and then a full buff removal on a 3-turn. The only thing holding this back is, again, polymorph, but it's still a powerful, powerful ability. On the A3, Dark Nebula. Plays an increased accuracy, big version, on all allies for 2 turns. Then plays a decreased resistance on all enemies for 2 turns. And while we're at it, let's stun them for a turn as well. What doesn't this guy do? He's removing buffs, he's block acting skills, he's got lockout, he's got stun, he's got increased accuracy, he's got decreased resistance, he's got AoE attacks, he's got turn meter fill, turn meter depletion, he's got another passive. Starlight Reflect increases champion's accuracy equal to 75% of their resist when placing debuffs or activating instant effects. That allows you to build him with high resist, and he'll still land all of these debuffs, the buff removal, all that stuff, and now he's super tanky. Super high resist tanky. Active effect, this champion's accuracy is higher than this champion's, excuse me, if the enemy's accuracy is higher than this champion's resistance, has a 50% chance of transferring any CC debuff, including petrifications, back to the enemy when placing debuffs on this champion. Whew. That is a kit, guys. I don't know. Resistant all battles by 80. What can I say about this dude? I mean, he brings everything to the table that you could possibly want in a champion. Like, if you have him, I do not. If you have him, congratulations, because, like, literally, where can't you use this dude, right? He's so incredibly powerful. And in my opinion, even if you think that Duchess's revive is better, which again, I kind of agree with, the rest of his kit is just absolutely just out of this world. There's my list, guys. Top 20 revivers and Raid Shadow Legends. Let me know where you agree, where you disagree. Let me know who I snubbed in the comments below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.